Good afternoon. I guess it's evening. Good evening. The Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Board of Trustees are now convened in a regular board meeting on Thursday, April the 8th, 2021, in the boardroom of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center located at 10,300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on Comcast Channel 16 and the district website. They will also be available as video on demand on the district website following tonight's meeting. For the video to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode, like what I'm going to do right now. Okay, everybody join me? Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize our Community Leadership Committee members who are in attendance this evening. The Community Leadership Committee meets every month, and they're made up of our community. Mr. Ryan Irving always steps right out of Esquire. He just always looks so nice. Ms. Frances Romero, and lovely as she was. Thank you. Thank both of y'all for being here. The invocation for tonight's board will be given by Dale Smith, lead pastor of Cy-Fair Christian Church. CFCC loves investing in the lives of people, both at home and abroad. Whether it's partnering with the students and staff at Bronson Center here in Cypress or partnering with students and staff of a school located in Mather Valley in Nairobi, they recognize that an investment in people is the greatest investment one could ever make. Dale and his wife of 38 years, Jennifer, who retired from teaching for 30 years, has 2 daughters, Kristen and Caitlin, and 2 grandchildren, Brinley and Leo. Dale, we appreciate your ongoing commitment to our district and thank you for being here tonight. Before the invocation, I would like to introduce the Cy Woods High School AFJROTC cadets who will be presenting the colors this evening. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Eric Duhan, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Journey Ortiz, Cadet Second Lieutenant Kimberly Norris, Cadet Second Lieutenant Austin Letterman. These cadets present the colors to you under the direction of Christopher Soto, Master Sergeant, retired, United States Air Force. Please stand. Okay.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this evening. Father, I thank you for each member of this board. And God, we just pray that you would give them wisdom as they provide leadership for our district. Father, I pray for our superintendent and our administrators. Father, just bless them. Give them strength. Give them perseverance and wisdom as they provide leadership for the staffs of each of our schools. Father, most of all, I thank you for the students of this district. Father, what an incredible opportunity to invest in the lives of children. Father, may they be inspired, may they be encouraged, may they be challenged to accomplish and become all they were created to be. Father, you are good. We thank you for this opportunity to serve in this way this evening. I thank you for each one who's present. And again, we thank you for the students of this district. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Eat and at ort arms our arch. Eat and halt. Breathe and arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Or arms. Oath. Over. Arch.
You may be seated. Board Member Julie Heineman will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience. Julie?
Our vision at CFISD is formed from the acronym LEAD, to learn, empower, achieve, dream. LEAD. Our mission is to maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. The board will recognize Charita Franklin, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, for receiving TASBO's RISE Award. Presenter is Tracy Ginsburg. Ms. Ginsburg?
Thank you so much for allowing me to spend some time this evening with you celebrating Charita. TASBO began the RISE Award 2 years ago because we wanted to recognize those individuals who were still fairly new to the profession, but they're our future leaders. And as you well know, we are building on the leadership of tomorrow, and Charita has certainly risen to that occasion. She is so well respected by others in TASBO. She's quickly emerged as a leader in our personnel HR committee, and she is a frequent instructor. She also served as vice president of the affiliate here in the Gulf Coast area. I will tell you, you call Charita, and she is willing to help and to do whatever she can because she knows that she's helping others throughout the state. I'm so thankful that she chose to leave Alaska and find her way to Texas, and I'm even more thankful that she found her way to TASBO. So Charita, congratulations.
Julie, you need to stand on your toes. Congratulations, Charita. And I bet you felt like you'd pull Alaska down here back in February, right? The board will recognize Business and Financial Services for receiving the TASBO's Award of Excellence in Financial Management. Ms. Ginsburg, you're up again.
This year, TASBO has had a Purchasing Award of Merit that your district has participated in for many years. This year we went we implemented a financial award of excellence in financial management, and it's to award those districts that clearly have best practices in financial management, are transparent with their public and with their community, and present data in a way that's easily understandable. When we came up with the idea of this award, we weren't quite sure, didn't realize COVID was going to happen, and I didn't think anyone would apply. I served as a CFO before, and I'm not certain I would have found the time, but I want to commend Cyfair ISD, and particularly Amanda Bowles. She put together the application under the guidance of Karen Smith, and they did an outstanding job, and you are only one of 10 districts in the entire state who we were able to recognize this year. And I just have to say personally, as a CFO, I always look to Cyfair to see exactly how you were doing things and where I could get great ideas, and that tradition continues. So congratulations, team.
Quickly call up Amanda Bowles, wait, is she back here somewhere? And Melissa McInerney and Mabel Isles. I want them to be the ones up here getting the award. They're the ones that worked on it. And if I can quickly brag on Melissa, her son, Braden, kicked the winning goal for Bridgeland the other day. So she's all excited about that, and we're happy for her. So if y'all want to go up there and receive the award.
Thank you, Ms. Ginsburg. The board will recognize CFISD's first and second place high school classroom winners in the 2021 TASB Student Video Contest. One of my favorite people in the world, Ms. Georgianne Rittmeyer with Klein ISD and also with TASB, will make the presentation. Ms. Rittmeyer?
Good evening, President Covey, board members, fellow colleagues of ours, administration, administrators, district personnel, and community members. I'm delighted to be here tonight to represent the Texas Association of School Boards, and as we call ourselves, TASB. As you know, your board is a member of TASB, and the district participates in so many of the programs and services available through our organization. President Covey is also the second vice president of TASB itself, and I work with him also on Gulf Coast Go Public. So this community really advocates for public schools. This school year, TASB sponsored a student video contest designed to give students an opportunity to shed light on how their school overcame the challenges, pushed forward in adversity, while showcasing their strength, their resilience, and success of Texas public schools in general. Dozens of videos were submitted from schools all across the state to express all the challenges brought on by teaching and learning during a pandemic. You can view all of those videos, and they are so creative, on the TASB website. That's tasb.org. From those entries, 6 districts in the state were chosen to receive the first and second place prizes awarded in 3 categories: elementary, middle school, and high school. And I'm delighted here tonight to celebrate a very momentous occasion, because Cyfair ISD didn't just win one, but they won 2 schools being honored this evening for their videos, which received high marks across the board. Both in the high school category, the second place prize of $2,500 goes to Cypress Creek High School. And the coveted first place prize of $5,000 goes to Bridgeland High School. So Please join me in congratulating both schools for their accomplishments and take a look at the winning videos here.
Welcome to Bridgeton High School, home of the Bears. BHS is one of the many magical places in Texas public education. It's a school that's full of grit and resilience, one that always encourages growth and unity.
Faced with a global pandemic, our school, alongside our district, sprung into action and developed exceptional processes and solutions that ensured continued educational and emotional growth.
Our campus created a school-wide campaign called BEST, Bears Everywhere, Stronger Together, to remind our campus and community that we are united and we will be victorious over all obstacles. We are reminded in our daily announcements to stay our Barry Bridgeland best, which has encouraged each person to perform better, creating a legacy of resilience. We are Bridgeland High School, and we are determined to win the day.
"2020 has looked vastly different for everyone, especially public schools. We've had many challenges to overcome, choosing a virtual way of learning. Many have learned how to be patient, take initiative, and adapt if something goes unplanned. Even though this year has been a rough one, we still band together to rise above, to overcome and push past adversity, to have normalcy. We work together as a team no matter what. Even in the midst of a global pandemic, our students have not only been surviving, but thriving. It truly has taken the cooperation of parents, students, and staff to buy into the new protocols and procedures in order to keep everyone in the school community as safe as possible. Texas public schools are strong, resilient, and successful.
Choose to support public schools and make an impact like never before.
Welcome to Bridgeton High.
Cyfair ISD for the excellence and creativity and innovation that has displayed in these student videos. It's a testimony to the educational quality found here, and your support of the Texas public schools continues to grow, and it's contagious and it's spreading around the state. So congratulations, and with that, I'd like to present formally these two large checks for your large effort on our behalf.
Thank you, Dr. Henry.
Cy Creek.
Thank you, Georgianne. Congratulations to both of you. I got to tell you, When you are in a meeting at TASB and they announce two of your high schools as winning first and second place, the pride overwhelmed me, and I just was very, very tickled for all of you. And I know that it's not an easy thing to do, but very proud of you. Thank you. The superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks. Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. As you can see, I'm wearing my Cy Creek mask this month, but Bridgeland, I wear yours all the time too, so I try to switch that around a little bit. Congratulations to the Cy Creek Cougars girls basketball team, which won its state semifinal game over Converse Judson and advanced to the state championship game, where they finished with a silver medal. The Cougars, the senior class of 2021, in their 4 years, made 3 state tournament appearances in those 4 years. So congratulations to our Cy Creek girls. Cypress Creek softball coach Randall Kite earned his 400th career win on March 12th. A veteran coach of 30 years with the Lady Cougars, Coach Kite plans to retire following the end of the school year. The Bridgeland and Jersey Village boys soccer teams and the Cy-Fair girls soccer team all won their regional semifinal playoff games to advance to the respective regional championships. Now think about this. There are 16 teams left in Class 6A in soccer, in the 8 in the boys, 8 in the girls, and of that 16, Cy-Fair ISD has 3 of those. So that's quite an accomplishment. The Bridgeland boys defeated Saxe in a shootout on Tuesday to qualify for the Region 2 title game against Rockwall Heath in Waco on Friday. The Jersey Village boys beat A-Leaf Elsick 2-1 on Tuesday and will meet Katy Tompkins in the Region 3 championship on Friday. And the Cy-Fair girls defeated Beaumont Westbrook 2-0 on Tuesday and are playing Spring Branch Memorial for the regional championship on Friday. A team of 3 Cypress Woods High School computer science students won first place in the Houston Advanced Division of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Code Wars, held virtually on March 6th. Seniors Zeke Gerbers, Sid Suchtiv, and Alex Wong competed against more than 250 teams from across the country. As a result of their win, they will work with HPE in writing some of the code to run on the International Space Station. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, we're going to take about a 5-minute break and no more than 5 minutes. So if any of you students need to go home and study, you can do that. Or if you want to stay here and listen to some riveting comments, you're welcome to do that too. 5 minutes. Public comments. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board and make public comments on an agenda item during or before the board's consideration of the item. The board may allow public comment on agenda items at all meetings. The board will continue with the remaining agenda after the registered patrons have had an opportunity to speak, and we had none sign up tonight. So now we will proceed to the board comments portion of the agenda. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any students, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this meeting. So we have board comments, and we're going to start with Ms. Blackshirt.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. I had the great honor last month to throw out the first pitch at a Cy Ranch girls softball game. And something I didn't ever think I'd have the opportunity to do, but was really a lot of fun. The girls, they were playing the Bridgeland Bears, and so it was a very good game, but they were so welcoming, and I have to tell you, our baseball fields are absolutely amazing. So much to be proud of in our district, the quality of fields that we have for our baseball students. And, just another example of how Cy-Fair ISD gives opportunity to all our students, no matter whether you're theater or your fine arts, your FFA, whatever athletics, whatever it is you do, we try to make sure that all of our students have the same opportunity and the best of the facilities. And so I really, that was part of, I believe, the 2019 bond, Julie, is that correct? And what a good use of our bond money. And kudos to our administration and to Ray Zepeda, who I'm sure had a lot of input into that. But it was a great evening, and I really enjoyed it. And then that same week, I visited Alt Elementary with Mr. LeCompte. And years ago, I had grandchildren attend Alt. So it has a special place in my heart. And I managed to find my favorite kindergarten teacher there, Julie Cooney. He does such an amazing job and taught two of my grandchildren. But it's just, it's great to get out in the schools and see how each campus operates. And although they may do things a little differently, the same curriculum is being taught. But it's so much fun to see the innovative ways our teachers are teaching the curriculum. And then finally, I think probably week before last, I had the opportunity to participate in the school district safety committee, and we talked a little bit about all the damages that our schools sustain and the response to that, which was quite amazing. But it's been a good month, and there's a lot coming up with the end of school quickly approaching. And I must say, I really feel like there is a normalcy returning. I told my husband today, I've had somewhere to be or some meeting to participate in every week this day. So I feel like I'm getting back to normal. There are no more days spent at home doing routine things. So thank you.
Dr. Ogletree.
All right. I had the pleasure of visiting Adam Elementary School and Danish Elementary School, and also Hemingway Elementary School and Rowe Middle School. And between our last meeting and now, excellent leadership. Gosh, amazing leadership, amazing cooperation and camaraderie and teamwork with all the teachers and the staff at these schools. I mean, the students were all engaged, and it was just a pleasant experience. And one thing I will say about our district, being at Adam and going through that school and being able to see all the upgrades and I mean, we really take care of all of our schools, whether you are 10, 15 years, 20 years old, or if you just opened 2 years ago, it is great. So things are happening in our district and as well.
Thanks, Dr. Ogletree. Mr. Jackson.
A full year and then some has passed since the pandemic has turned our community askew. I believed it was inevitable that multiple schools in our district would have been closed, yet none have. That is attributable to the plan that was developed from input from different parties, implemented with flexible fidelity, supported strongly by students and parents, and bolstered by the community supporting the concept of slowing the spread and responders quickly tending to needs of those who needed their help. And so tonight I tip my hat to all who helped diminish the impact of the pandemic. In that vein, I have taken both shots of the vaccination, and I encourage all to consider doing so. My last school visit was at Kirk Elementary in Robeson. Kirk is nearing 90% on campus, which is amazing, Both schools are still observing strict safety protocols from K through 5, but you can see the absolute joy even now in the body language of our students who are on campus. They are just happy to be back on campus. And of course, we know that learning is enhanced when it's face-to-face and on campus as well. It's political and money season again. I think it's somewhat unhappily ironic that this district, properly so, was identified as being one of the 10 best financially run districts in the state of Texas, and yet a bill has been passed to punish the fiscal responsibility of this district. It is absolutely amazing that our elected officials who claim to be friends of public schools would seek out the very best to punish for being good stewards. But I will note this is not the first time this happened. This happened also about 20 years ago when a prior board, maybe 24, when a prior board and a prior superintendent, seeing hard times coming, said, we need to tighten our belt. And they did. And then Hold Harmless came out and said, oh, well, you get to keep the money you were spending per child. It doesn't matter that you decided to be fiscally proactive. And so this district has paid hundreds of millions of dollars for having been financially proactive and prudent. I hope it does not happen again. I wear this jersey tonight with pride, and if the cameras can see, take a look at this. Once again, I, as my colleague, were permitted to throw out the first pitch. I talked about this some in March. I chose to do it again. We start a second year facing the pandemic. We face it in a positive fashion for the good of our students, the good of our teachers, our staff, but also for our community. And isn't it wonderful that this community has decided to give every one of our high schools a facility that is the envy of the state, where state tournaments can be held, but it is all done in a financially prudent fashion. Simply remarkable. So thank you to the community, thank you to the senior leadership, but also for the campus leadership in helping to keep our students and staff and community safe.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I will tell you that when I came to the board tonight and I saw you in green, I thought you were representing Baylor, and you being a Texas ex, I was surprised. So I was pleased to see it was Cy Falls. So.
Well, by the same token, don't misunderstand, I am very proud of our Baylor Bears, a Texas school, winning.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a
Hopefully
long
it'll
time.
happen again soon.
Yeah. Ms. Heineman.
Thank you. I'm excited that we are in the home stretch of the school year, and I am especially looking forward to our graduations this year. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to spend time with high school students who are part of the Superintendent's Student Leadership Council. There are representatives from all 12 of our high schools actively participating and engaged in powerful and relevant dialogue about relevant topics impacting school policies and culture. I am so impressed by and proud of these amazing students. When I say that our future is in good hands, I mean it. And it's not just their hands doing the work, but it's their minds and their compassion and their focus. One of the most important ways we can ensure their positive future impact is to support their right to vote. I am dismayed by a bill filed during this legislative session that would do away with volunteer deputy registrars like me who help with local voter registration drives. It also does away with high school voter registrars. What better way to support and build on a strong civics education than to encourage our eligible students to vote? Speaking of legislation, of the 6,700 bills that have been filed for this session, almost 900 have to do with public education. I am grateful for organizations that support and advocate for local schools who are tracking these bills and keeping us informed. Those of us, like teachers, parents, business owners, and school board members who work full-time can't drive to Austin and testify in the middle of the night ourselves. But we are grateful for those who do in support of our local public schools. Looking at some of the bills, there are some good ones. There's bills filed to remove the expiration date for individual graduation committees, which support students who maybe struggle passing some of those high-stakes tests, but who can show and can demonstrate that they know the material and should be allowed to earn their high school diplomas. There's also some bills that seek to hold charter schools to the same student accountability and financial transparency as our local community schools. There are some sketchy ones. There's a bill, based that would mandate outcomes-based funding, where schools would receive funding based upon student STAR test scores. There's also bills that would give more power to the TEA commissioner to rubber stamp charter expansion with no local input. For me personally, I'm not as focused on these bills as I usually am for these sessions because I am distracted. I am currently distracted by the fact that the governor and the appointed Texas Education Agency commissioner are holding $18 billion hostage. These are federal stimulus funds that Congress allocated to public schools in Texas, but they are nowhere to be found. Where are these dollars? These are our taxpayer dollars that are supposed to help schools pay for the extensive costs of dealing with the pandemic and to address the learning needs of our kids. While the vast majority of other states in the U.S. have already distributed these federal stimulus funds to schools, Texas has not. They said it's complicated. It appears that our state government is making it more complicated by setting up a new bureaucracy to create a grant program where schools would have to apply and beg for these funds. Why create more unnecessary bureaucracy? This is a waste of time, money, and energy. Local school districts governed by locally elected trustees should receive their duly allocated federal funds immediately. Governor Abbott, it's time to do the right thing.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. Mr. Sarabia.
As always, I like to echo my fellow trustees and all their sentiments. Outstanding, especially Julie right now. Definitely, that money belongs to the public schools, and it's a sham going on right now. And I'm sorry to have to say that we have to say that out loud and stuff, though. But something needs to be said. So, thank you, Julie. I'd like to start with my last visit since the last board meeting was at Robinson. Miss Principal Braley showed me around. It was fantastic. They're out there in the very outskirts bordering Katy. And I remember working at my job years ago, and there was nothing out there but this elementary school. That was it. And there was a shortcut between Katy and coming back to Cypress-Fairbanks, how I used to use that road to cut around the clay light. But it's there and it's thriving, and they're doing a fantastic job. The students are energized. They're there. They're following the protocols. Again, I can't stress how much y'all saw in seeing that our educators could carry out such tasks, because I have yet to visit any campus that wasn't doing their job over and beyond the call of duty and stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. She showed me the neighborhood right behind their school that at the start of the school year, they only had like a dozen houses, and now there was dozens by dozens, and families are just coming to our district. They're just coming, and it's direct reflection on how well the district performs, and the administration and our educators, on how everything goes through. So great job out there by on our outer outskirts of our district, but thriving nonetheless. Then, as our other trustees, I got to throw out a pitch. At least I had a little practice because I do coach baseball on the side, and I did a bullpen the day before to practice throwing out that pitch. And the catchers were, because I kept bouncing the pitch in, and they were riding me like I ride them when you bounce the ball in. And but I think it turned out pretty good. I hung one right in there pretty good though. But Cy Ridge is extremely beautiful. I've been coaching baseball over 20-something years in the Houston area, and I've seen all the campuses and the college baseball fields throughout. We are second to none. I tell you what, the dugouts are gorgeous. The fields, I don't know how anybody can make an error on that field. It's so great. I mean, my God, it's awesome. But that was a great visit. Cy Ridge is thriving there in their baseball program here. We have many involved there. The principal came by and said hi, hello, gave her thanks, and she was coming from doing theater inside, and then she was going to the soccer playoff game at Bridgeton. The district is rolling. It's just we have a lot of good things going on. It just looks great. Then, of course, I follow my Side Creek basketball girls throughout the state run, and for the last 4 years, that group of young ladies is just phenomenal, and they'll continue to thrive in whatever they go do, though. But it was a great run, and it's something that is far few in between. When you talk about 3 state tournament runs in 4 years, that's pretty good. And then the one you didn't go, you lost in the regional finals. So that's pretty awesome. It's a great run by the young ladies there at Side Creek and stuff. I also want to say during my election, I ran into a gentleman, and he interviewed me. He was a past president, I believe, of TSTA, Richard Martin, and he died this past month. And he had been over 30 years with the district, and a gentleman who really cared about the district and his co-workers. And I saw that in social media and stuff, and I just want to give a shout out to the family and our condolences deeply to the Martin family, and thank him for his service throughout the district and his time here. And also, I did get to go to the U of H Final Four game in Indianapolis. I drove 2,700 miles in 3 days back and forth and went through like 9 states. But I did get to talk to my relatives who are educators in Ohio, and they were asking me all kinds of questions on how we do this and how do we do that. And I believe all of them were really quite pleased in how well the district was doing and how we were getting along during this past 12 months. And as a direct reflection, I'm very proud to carry the CFISD flag around when I'm out and about. Anyways, just want to let everybody know, keep up the great work, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Gilbert. Yes, ma'am.
Gilbert, I was just happy that my ball made it almost to the batter's box.
Thank you. And I will tell you that I got to do it with Cy Woods, and I very intelligently took my granddaughter who plays softball, and she did a really good job. I just stood beside her and said, "Throw it, honey," and she did. But you are right. Those fields are just phenomenal. And I wasn't invited into the dugout, but I will say it was kind of funny because Cy Woods was playing Langham Creek. Well, I had to go over and give best wishes to Langham Creek. When I got up in the stand, somebody said, "What'd you do that for?" And I said, "Well, we're all one." Yeah.
Bob, I go tomorrow night, and I'd like to get a film of Tom's pitch before I go, if I can arrange that somehow.
All right. NSBA, the National School Board Association, is having its annual conference virtually. Sessions are being given today through Saturday. Of great and most impressive importance is Dr. Viola Garcia, Aldine ISD Board of Trustees, was sworn in as president of NSBA yesterday during the delegate assembly. She will assume the position in Saturday when this session is over. It has been a long time since Texas has had that awesome role, and we want to congratulate Dr. Garcia, Aldine ISD, and the Board of Trustees, and NSBA for electing our fellow trustee to the president 2021 through 2022. If you don't know Viola, she is an amazing woman. She is a professor at I forgot, junior colleges, I believe. No, I think it's Houston Community College, but she's just an amazing woman. There has been so much to be proud of in CFISD. I mean, the sports, women's basketball, Cy Creek to the championship game, soccer games advancing, one-act plays advancing, track and field in full swing, baseball starting up. Just you look around at all the accomplishments in this district and that we're able to witness, and you know that public school education is the best choice for education in Texas, the Gulf Coast area, and CFISD. I too have completed my school visits, and each one was terrific. In visiting a wide array of schools reinforces that CFISD, we are making each school, no matter the zip code, the best education for each and every student. Our statement, opportunity for all, is what we believe in and we push for. The recent schools I visited were Wilson Elementary, Tamara Felder, Walker Elementary, Kimberly Dameron, Cy Woods High School, Gary Kenninger, and then he turned me over to Kelly Ellis because he had a meeting with somebody named Dr. Henry. Copeland Elementary and Melicon, and there she had 2 of her 5th grade students do the tour, and they were just fabulous. I've also visited Anthony Middle School, Vivian Bennett, Lampkin Elementary, Gail Parker, Cy Falls High School, Becky Denton, Holbrook Elementary, Rebecca Mendez, Swinky Elementary, Dr. Liz Miller, and Keith Elementary, Dawn Tryon. I don't remember if I've actually said that before, but I wanted to make sure I got their names. And last but not least, Salyard Middle School, Liz Woods. I also got to attend the Superintendent Student Leadership Council. And as Julie mentioned, it was phenomenal to listen to these young people, much like Ryan that's sitting out here, who was a graduate 3 or 4 years ago, but oh my gosh, they are just, they're wonderful. And I'm so tickled that you have this. And one of the things that I like is there's a cross-section of kids there. You don't just have leaders, you have kids that are doing, maybe their grades are much like mine, or like Mr. Ryan says, alphabetarian, or, but they want to lead and they want to be important and they want a good future. And you listen to them, and I'm so impressed with all of them. In closing, yesterday I participated in a Zoom chat with TEA Commissioner of Education, Mike Morath. A number of items were discussed, but one note in talking about how we will be addressing the gaps caused by COVID, I was able to refer to our Camp Summit and how impressive this endeavor was to bringing up readiness abilities with students that participated and were falling below their reading level. Commissioner Morath commented that CFISD's curriculum department was, without a doubt, one of the best in Texas and possibly the entire country. As he said, kudos to Dr. Macias and her team. Dr. Macias, you were mentioned, you were renowned, you're amazing, we're tickled you're here, and I know Georgianne's over there, don't you dare go to Klein. All right. Next up is citizen participation. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern interest to the district other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. The board may not act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. We have no one signed up for that tonight. Oh, wait a minute.
Here.
Did we? I'm glad I'm president. I'm sorry. We do have people speaking. Sherelle Martinez? Okay, thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Sherelle, there is a light there where you're going to be speaking.
Okay.
When you start, the green light will come on.
I was just going to pass these down to the board members. It's just a little handout.
So you're not talking?
No, I am speaking
okay.
as well. Yeah.
When it gets to 30 seconds before the yellow light comes on, when the red light comes on, try to sum up, okay?
Okay. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, cool. So good evening, my name is Cheryl Marlitz, and I'm a family nurse practitioner from an urgent care in Cypress and Katy. I am also a mother of 5 children, 4 of which are enrolled in Cypress ISD. As we all know, COVID-19 has had a tremendous effect on education and quality of life, including mental health. My objective in speaking in tonight's board meeting is to formally introduce myself and to request the urgent need to reconsider the COVID-19 quarantine policy and mask mandates. I understand that the quarantine policy has been reduced to 10 days and students may return to school on the 8th day of quarantine if symptom-free and with proof of a negative test. However, many other school districts, including Katy ISD and now Magnolia ISD, have safely allowed asymptomatic close contact students or those without symptoms to return to school the next day with a negative test. As a medical provider in the Cypress and Katy areas, I can say that many close contact students from Katy ISD have been able to safely return with a negative test well before even 1 week, resulting in 0 super spread. As of 4/1, Magnolia ISD has removed mask mandates and will also no longer require quarantines as long as one is willing to have a COVID-19 test. Although it may be premature for data analysis regarding COVID-19 and mask removals in schools, there is plenty of literature to support that children, especially 10 and under, are highly unlikely to be the source of COVID-19 outbreak, even when unmasked. I can also provide the literature on the negative psychological effects that masks have on children, especially when used long-term. I've been actively emailing and calling the leaders of Cypress ISD since the first time our autistic foster daughter in kindergarten was forced to quarantine in November 2020. I expressed my concern for the other families that with similar situations in regards to children with special needs. Like many families, we not only rely on the public school system to educate our children, but we also rely on the public school system for things like with those with special needs, such as speech and occupational therapy. Not only was Cyfair unwilling to address these concerns, they were unwilling to address the policy as well.
Thank you.
Last comment, the CDC in 2020 recently found that compared with 2019, the proportion of mental health related ER visits for children ages 5 to 11 and 12 to 17
Ma'am,
increased
thank
approximately
you very much.
24%.
Please, Thank you. Thank you.
Camille Wade Riscano.
Good afternoon. My name is Camille Wade Riscano. I am a former graduate from one of the high schools, and my daughter, she attends one of the high schools. I've lived in the community for over 20 years, and my heart was just a little heavy concerning all of the different issues that are going on in our community. So I was wondering what resources or what's on the agenda for caring for our community in regards to mental health. The COVID has been 1 calendar year, but technically it's seeming like it may end up being, some type of impact even next school year, so that'll be 3 school years. So that was just my concern. What are we doing, not just you all, but the parents and all of us together, addressing our children as well as ourselves, the adults, addressing the mental health aspect of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Riscano. Todd LeCompte. I can't say it. What is it? Thank you.
My name is Todd LeCompte. I have two boys that go that are enrolled in Cyfair School District. I just want to ask a few questions and maybe not get answers, but I want to ask these questions anyway. The people that are advising Cyfair on these policies for masks and things like that, are they actually practicing medical personnel, or are they more, or are you getting it from the general, just basically the CDC? My trust in the CDC, based on them changing their stories, basically several times over the course of this pandemic, makes me wonder. Kids, parents, you're taught in school to basically critically think, okay? Just because someone tells you that it's the truth doesn't mean it's the truth. All right. I heard someone over here that's a baseball guy. Nice. I've been coaching baseball for 5 years. Let me tell you how accurate the truth is. If you have game changer is something you keep stats on, right? If someone basically enters inaccurate stats at the end of the season, is it truthful? If a person basically says, if a kid basically saying he hit 400 when he actually hit 200, it's all based on the people that are basically inputting the data. Have we asked these questions, right? During this pandemic, this is the very first time that we basically had mass testing. Have we had mass testing like this when we had the regular flu in 2019? How about 2018? How about 2017? There's elected officials that we have in this country that basically says, never let a good crisis go to waste. We're being taken advantage of. We're being lied to, right? I want you guys to understand and basically just think for yourself, all right? That's what you're taught in school, right? Just because someone tells you that it's the truth doesn't mean it's the truth, right? Use your head, right? Use your brain, right? I want you guys to start talking to people that are practicing medicine when you guys make these decisions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nikki Cowart.
Good evening, Dr. Henry and trusted Cyfair ISD school board members. At last month's meeting, Onika did a fantastic presentation regarding our substitute teacher workforce. This pandemic has caused challenges and ripple effect challenges, some of which we knew to anticipate and some maybe not. But one thing is clear, the last 12 months of these demanding days are leading to increased burnout and resignation of committed and experienced staff. A large percentage of our workforce is simply beyond exhausted. To be honest, I've had more teachers call our office in tears this year than I've had in the last 10 years combined. At this point in the school year, they're deciding if our district is the best in the area to work for, and I wholeheartedly believe it is. I know it is. I hope I'm wrong on this, but I fear the growing angst around this crisis could lead to massive educator turnover rates for the next several years to come. With too many educators leaving education, it is robbing our students of the stability that they so desperately need right now. Our students deserve the best. They deserve experienced teachers, administrators, and staff. And one way that we can show our appreciation and respect is by offering a real pay raise. One that is not eaten up by healthcare premiums, as this is budget finalizing season. And I say this every year, but this year more than ever. We must respect, recognize, reinvest, and retain our hardworking current employees. I look forward to working with all of you and the Cyfair ISD community to make sure we get all the funding from the state and retain our hardworking teachers and support professionals. And while it's a smart move to always save funds for our future, we are hurting now. We never aim at the teachers' union to provoke anger. Our union works to provoke change. So no matter what comes to us from the policymakers in Austin, we have the power to make change locally. Listen to the voices of district employees and keep Cyfair ISD number one by offering competitive pay and benefits.
Thank you, Ms. Cowart. Jennifer McDaniel.
Hi, thanks for having me. I am ashamed to say this is the first school board meeting I've been to, and I have a freshman and a junior in high school, so I won't make that mistake again. My name is Jennifer McDaniel. My husband and I have 2 high school students who have attended Cyfair schools since kindergarten. They have had many great teachers throughout their years. My daughter is a freshman at Cyfair and had the opportunity to attend in person. We chose this path for her because she was also on the volleyball team in the fall and is a people person. She needs her people. We also chose in person for my son, who is a junior. He attended the first day in person and was able only to make it through half of the school day. after being isolated for the months that he was isolated, he also had a back issue and had surgery, but being isolated and wearing the mask, he couldn't make it through the first day. And I'm not one of those people, but he had anxiety. When I went and picked him up at school and we talked about it, so after that, he went virtual. That didn't work out so well, so we switched him to an online school. And he's doing the best he can right now with what he's got. So, but I believe part of it was the mask and being back at school with all of the kids there. Sorry. I believe that masks were a good option or the only option when school started, and we thought that they worked. There's much evidence that children are not spreaders of the virus. That, coupled with teachers having the opportunity to be vaccinated, should provide adequate protection for our teachers. Cyfair students and their parents should be able to make educated choices about whether or not they want to wear a mask. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Just one statement from the president. Whenever we have citizen participation, we cannot answer questions because it is not an agenda item, okay? The action items, 7A, the board consider approving the minutes of March 8th, 2021 regular board meeting. If any board member wishes to remove this item for further discussion, please do so at this time. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the minutes of the March 8, 2021 regular board meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Debbie, does anybody have any questions or concerns? All in favor, raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. 8, action board items non-consent. The board will consider the adoption of orders authorizing the conversion of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District variable rate unlimited tax school building bonds, Series 2015 B1, 2015 B2, and 2017 A1 to a new rate period authorizing the preparation of remarketing memorandum and enacting other provisions relating thereunto. You have a brief presentation from Karen Smith, Terrell Palmer, and Jonathan Frails. Karen?
Thank you. I came over this direction so that I could, in case y'all had questions of Jonathan, he could go up to that mic. But thank you very much, President Covey. Tonight I have with us is Jonathan Frails if you have questions later, and then Francine Stephan is substituting for Terrell Palmer, and then Randy Bates is back there from Bates and Coleman. Thank you for being here. I'm going to talk about both agenda items, both the 8A and 8B, but what you see before you is the remarketing for our variable rate bonds. In August 15th, the Series 2015 B1, B2, and A1 are up for a remarketing period. And then the second thing that you have before you is a parameter order. And we're coming to you a little sooner than we usually do, similar to last year, to provide us flexibility. That parameter order gives us the opportunity to sell new bonds as well as do a refunding. And so what could happen, like we did with the variable rate last year, if the market's right, we may fix those rates, fix those bonds out. Last year, we were able to do that and fix them out at a true interest cost of 2.38. And then the bonds that we sold last year in October, we had one of the best rates ever of 1.97%. We were really excited about that. So I'll turn it over to see if y'all have any questions of myself or Francine or Jonathan.
Mr. Jackson, I'm sure you do, don't you?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I do.
There you go.
Some of these are perfunctory questions, but they have to be asked anyway. Particularly in light of what a state representative in a bill has suggested, why should we not use our cash on hand to pay down this debt instead of refinancing?
Well, the reason why I would say that is because, of course, on the fund balance I completely disagree with the fund balance bill, but school districts need more months in fund balance than just 3 months worth of fund balance. And that's especially true with the school district that has a June 30 year end, because we have to wait 2 additional months before tax receipts start coming in. In addition, whenever you have a disaster, such as Hurricane Harvey or is what we're dealing here with COVID, for the COVID situation, the coronavirus pandemic, the only money we have seen so far is about a little over $700,000 that we have received of additional funds on top of that's really new money. We have applied for quite a bit, but we haven't seen it yet. So what we're having to do is upfront those costs. So that's why we would not want to use our general fund balance in order to do that, is we need it for things such as this.
And let me go back to a point that you just made. You said we're a June 30 year-end entity. Why does that matter compared to somebody who may be a 12/31 or a 9/30?
Well, there's only 2 options in Texas, and it's the June 30, for school districts, the June 30 and the August. But as I indicated, we wait longer before we're starting to get those tax collections. And so we need that fund balance to get us through the period of time before those tax collections have to come in, or a school district might have to do something such as a tax anticipation note in order to make payroll before those tax collections start coming in.
So part of this is we're actually saving money, and administratively it makes it easier and is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I will, but it's financially prudent, the course that we have designed.
Absolutely.
And of course, you and your team, this district, was recognized once again as being one of the best managed financial districts in the state of Texas. But that's not a new recognition, is it? I seem to recall seeing this even before I was a trustee, and this is year number, I don't know, 10? I think so, or 11? So we've been financially prudent for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. A question I always ask when you come to us is why now? So please, either you or one of the folks who's here, sketch out the interest rate environment and tell us what's going on with interest rates. Are they going up, going down, staying stable?
I'm going to ask Francine to come up if she doesn't mind.
Hi, Francine Steffen with Post Oak Municipal Advisors. And you asked about interest rates and the current interest rate environment. And we are still at basically historically low interest rate levels. We're not at the lowest, but I've seen statistics recently that if you look back 30 to 40 years at interest rates, we're still in the bottom like 5% or lower of where interest rates have been over that period of time. So we're still very low interest rates.
So you would suggest this is a good economic environment in which to refinance?
It is, yes, a good economic environment to refinance. There are limitations on when you can refinance bonds, so that's one of the problems we have right now. You have to be within a certain number of days from when those bonds can be called, and a lot of bonds have a period of time when they cannot be called or redeemed. So that's one limitation we have.
Yes, and I guess what we could do is we do have the option, and that's part of the parameter order. What Francine is referring to is a tax-exempt refunding. But what's in the parameter order, if the market was just right, we could also do a taxable advance refunding. But the only way you can do an advance refunding right now is if it's a taxable. The tax-exempt refunding was taken away in the Tax Act that was done with the Trump administration. But there's some movement on that, so we're hoping something will happen with that.
Mm-hmm. And a good thorough answer. The last question that I always ask, if we're looking to sell new bonds, do we have the wherewithal to retire those bonds as needed and yes, according to the schedule?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Very good. Thank you, ladies.
Did you have any questions of Jonathan, or are we good with them?
We're good.
Okay. Thank you.
I thought he was just going to sit there
Can
and
I
look
ask
good.
a question?
John Ogletree.
Karen, you mentioned this is a parameter transaction.
But yes, sir, the second one is.
Would you explain that, and have we done these type before?
Sure. Actually, we typically come to you several months prior to the sale of the bonds every year and do some type of parameter order, but it's usually related to that October sale that we typically have. This year and last year, we're coming to you a little bit sooner. We usually come in May, but the reason we've kind of expanded that parameter order to give us additional flexibility if the rates are right, to be able to refund, like I said, the variable rate bonds, if we want to be able to do a tax exempt advance refunding, a taxable advance refunding. So it gives us flexibility whenever the market's at the right place to go ahead and move. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the non-consent item as recommended or amended?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the non-consent item as presented or amended.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. The board considered the adoption of an order authorizing the issuance of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District unlimited tax school building and refunding bonds, which may be issued in one or more series levying a tax and providing for the security and payment thereof, proving for the award of the sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereunto. We have another presentation. No, we don't. Do we have any questions?
May I make a motion, Mr.
Yes, sir.
President? I think I can do it right this time.
Okay.
I move that the board approve the adoption of an order authorizing the issuance of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District unlimited tax school building and refunding bonds, which may be issued in one or more series, levying a tax and providing for the security and payment thereof, providing for the award of the sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. That was dead on. May I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. Any other questions? If not, raise your hand in approval, and it's unanimous. Thank you. 8C, the board will consider approving the superintendent's contract recommendations to issue probationary term and annual contracts for the 2021-2022 school year for teachers, administrators, and paraprofessionals. Questions only tonight. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Henry, Dr. Deborah Stewart, Charita, or Marnie Collins Sims? Anybody? May I have a motion?
Mr. President.
You have a question?
And this really, I guess, goes to you, Mark. I know this comes up each and every year for contract renewals. But I know I spoke, but also other board members spoke that on contract renewals that we asked the greatest forbearance possible being shown. And do we think that we have in fact done that in this time of the pandemic?
Yes, sir, absolutely, even more so.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move the board approve the superintendent's contract recommendations for the 2021-2022 school year.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. Any questions? Nope. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. 8D, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 8D1, DCD local employment practices at will employment are revised. 8D2, DCE local employment practices other types of contracts are revised. 8D3, GF local public complaints are revised. 8D4, GKA local community relations conduct on school premises revised. Are there any questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
Mr.
Joe?
President, I make a motion
There you go.
that we approve these are all DCDs, right?
All revisions.
All revisions.
All revisions or deletions to district policies as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. 8E, the board will consider approving the district instructional material recommendations for dual credit speech courses. Questions only for Dr. Macias. Anyone have questions? None? May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the instructional material recommendation for dual credit speech courses.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. May I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. All in favor, raise your right hand. And it's unanimous. Thank you. 8F, the board consider approving the district instructional material recommendations for the following mathematics courses: AP Calculus, AP Statistics, Algebra. Did that mean Algebra 1 and 2? Or did you just repeat algebra twice? Linda? I'm sorry I made you get up.
It's okay.
Just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I did. I woke you up. I'm sorry.
No, you did not wake me up. So the courses are the AP Calculus, AP Statistics, College Algebra, and Advanced Algebra. That is correct, the way it's
One's
stated.
College of Algebra and one of them's Advanced
Yes,
Algebra.
sir.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Macias? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the district instructional material recommendations for the following mathematics courses: AP Calculus, AP Statistics, College Algebra, and Advanced Algebra.
Okay, thank you, Tom, for the motion. I may have a second.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. All in favor, raise your right hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. 8G, the board will consider approving the district's instructional material recommendations for the following courses: Human Geography, AP, European History, AP, AP/DC, United States History, AP/DC, Macroeconomics, AP/DC, Psychology, DC Sociology. Any questions for Dr. Macias? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the district instructional material recommendations for the following courses: Human Geography, AP, European History, AP, AP/DC, United States History, AP/DC, Macroeconomics, AP/DC, Psychology, and DC Sociology.
Thank you, Debbie. May I have a second? Thank you, Gilbert. All in favor, raise your right hand. And that is unanimous. Thank you. The board will consider approving the district's instructional material recommendations for the following courses: AP Physics 1 and 2, AP Physics C. Any questions for Dr. Macias? See none, may I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the district instructional material recommendations for the following courses: AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2, AP Physics C.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. All in favor, raise your right hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. 8I, the board will consider approving the district's instructional material recommendations for pre-kindergarten. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Macias? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the non-consent item as recommended or amended?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the district instructional material recommendations for pre-kindergarten.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. Yes. Uh-oh.
For the pre-K instructional materials, Didn't the state give us guidelines on these?
Yes, sir. There are guidelines that are attached to what's being taught in kindergarten, and so anybody who has put out products for adoption has to meet the guidelines that are set by the state.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. 8J, the board will consider approving the innovative course offering for special education, Braille, reading, and writing. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Macias? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
I recommend or move, thank you. I move that the board consider, or that the board approve the innovative course offering for special education, Braille reading and writing.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. And I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. 8K, the board will consider the approval and execution of a plat for elementary school number 58. Presenter is Mr. Roy Sprague. Mr. Sprague. Oh, this is questions only? Or are you presenting? Questions only. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Sprague?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Roy, this is my standard Harvey question. So where does this sit in the relative to the floodplain?
This site is located right there at Clay Road, just west of Fry Road. It's fairly close to M. Robinson. We are not in the floodplain on this site, and as we design that facility, we'll make sure our slab elevation is properly located to avoid any flooding in the building.
Has the updated floodplain map ever been released?
It's been out there, I think, in draft form, and I think it keeps changing, and we're still working with Harris County Flood Control.
So obviously, you're involved in the process, so you'll keep an eye on it for our
Absolutely.
property. Thank you, sir. That's all, Mr. President.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. May I have a motion to approve the non-consent item as recommended or amended?
Mr. President, I move.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I move that the board approve and execute the plat for the elementary school number 58 site as prepared by the registered professional land surveyor, West Belt Surveying, Inc.
Thank you, Dr. O. May I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Jackson. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. 8L, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and are authorizing purchase orders as recommended or posted agenda item. 8L1, furniture and equipment. Do we have any questions for Mr. Powell or Mr. Morgan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, which one do you want?
Whoever wants to handle it.
Mr. Powell's headed up.
Okay, excellent. Because of our board visits to the campuses, all the trustees know this, but I don't know if the viewing audience, particularly those who do not have grandchildren attending, for the furniture that we're buying for the elementary schools, are these the old standard desk? You know, you sit in, you have the desk up here, and you have a little dugout area for your pencil or pen?
No, they're not the standard old desks that we used to sit at. I will let the chairman of the furniture committee answer that question, Mr. Matt Morgan, since he chaired the committee that I was not a part of.
Mr. Morgan, welcome to the podium.
Thank you, sir. No, these aren't standard desks. We are implementing a 21st century learning environment. Everything is very flexible and movable. A lot of soft seating in the classrooms, very flexible mobile teacher stations. It's not the same classroom. And we have a committee of school leadership, principals that select this furniture and curriculum that select this furniture and set the standards. So they have done a really good job. And I'm not the chairman, I just pay for it.
So do our students, and so the first question is some of this furniture already out in the district?
Oh, yes, sir. We started in the 2019 bond, we had furniture replacements approved, and we started last summer doing schools. So we've done 6 or 7 last summer, and then we have 12 that we're doing this summer. So as we do renovations, we go in and we do a complete renovation and we replace the furniture, so we complement the learning environment and have that flexible learning environment.
So do we have anecdotal observations that our students prosper using this new furniture?
I may have to defer to Dr. Macias.
I would just say, having visited campuses and talked to many, many principals, they say the furniture is making a huge difference I think the learning process as a whole, just because it's much more comfortable, much more usable, much more practical, and it fits our students.
Dr. Henry and Mr. Jackson, there's numerous studies out there. Research has been done based on the ergonomic furniture that we utilize. There is student performance increases as a result of those types of furniture we're installing in our buildings.
Excellent. You know, we approve contracts, but at the end of the day, it's all about attainment for our students. So thank you, Mr. President, and Matt, thank you, and Roy, thank you for that as well.
Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
Sounds so reluctant.
Thanks for stepping up there, Gilbert.
I move that the board awards bids and contracts, authorized purchase orders as recommended and post an agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Arabian. May I have a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Unanimous vote there, Gilbert. Thank you. The board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts paid from bond funds to the recommended contractors and authorize a superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts as follows. 8M1 2019 New Administrative Building and Visual and Performing Arts Center. 8M2 Elementary School number 57. 8M3 2019 Wells Elementary School renovation. Do we have any questions?
I think Matt, are you going to make a little bit of a presentation here? And certainly we want to introduce our guests that are here that we're going to be recommending perform the work on these buildings. And we're really proud that it's some of our oldest and best. I don't mean they're old, but their companies are some of our oldest and best vendors that we've worked with. So we're really proud to hopefully be partnering up with these architects and these contractors.
I don't really have a presentation, but we have Mark French here, who is the design principal on Elementary 57, did a fantastic job. We had the design development presentation a couple of months ago. Brandon Ross and Eric Smith are here from PBK Architects, who did the new administration building and Visual and Performing Arts Center. And we're really excited to be recommending Satterfield and Ponticus as the general contractor for the new administration building and Visual Performing Arts Center. And as you know, Satterfield and Ponticus did Cy Park. They just finished Harold Rowe. Harold Rowe Middle School turned out beautifully, and it was on time, within cost. They did a fantastic job, so really excited to work with them. We have George Ponticus, who is the founder and CEO with us. He is not old. Charlie Fody, I don't know. He is the executive vice president. He's with us tonight. We have Eric Blankenship, vice president, and John Marshall, vice president. So we're really honored to be working with them and make the recommendation for this contract for Satterfield and Ponticus.
Thank you, Matt. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. President, I move that the board award these construction contracts to the recommended contractors and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Heineman. Before we go to a vote, and since the Wells is such a brand-new elementary school, Roy, would you explain why they're on this list? Because I know why. I just feel like we need to make that statement.
This project contains our security enhancements that were included in our 2019 bond program.
Okay. And does it have anything to do with the new middle school we may be putting next to them?
No.
Or
This
you
is
not
standalone,
adjusting? Okay.
taking care of what was approved by our committee and the voters approved in the authorization.
Thank you. All right. I have a motion by Dr. O and a second by Ms. Heineman.
And Mr. President?
I'm sorry, you got a question?
A quick question.
Sure, quick question.
Roy, if you would, although we as trustees, we see everything in the board book, so we know what happens. But would you explain to the viewing audience the process on how how a company is selected?
From a general contractor standpoint?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we, in our board policy, we have a delivery method that the board has approved called our competitive seal proposal method. We base our contract award based on criteria, evaluation criteria, which includes price, our past performance with these vendors, as well as their references. And our teams evaluate those proposals once we receive the numbers, and then they evaluate it and submit the recommendation to the board for you all to approve the recommendation.
And this is a very large contract. Was this a low bidder, high bidder, middle bidder?
Satterfield and Ponticus was actually our low bidder, but they were also the highest qualified contractor, and that's why it's being recommended to the board for contract approval.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
One final question, Roy. Just the new administration building and visual and performing arts. We've seen the land cleared for quite some time. So with the choice tonight, when do we look that we're going to start seeing more work?
Well, as soon as we have the board approve this and we execute the contractor will be submitting their bonds and insurance. We'll get that approved, and then they'll be authorized to mobilize on the site. So I would anticipate no later than May 1st, we'll start seeing some activity with move-in by the contractor.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you very much. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. 9A, the superintendent will provide information regarding district events and items of community interest. Dr. Mark Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Covey, board members. Early registration for pre-K and kindergarten classes is now open. Please visit the district website for further information. The 8th Annual Superintendent's Fun Run will be a virtual event this year, scheduled for Saturday, May 1st. Online registration is now open. Proceeds from the event will help fund scholarships and teacher development grants through the Cyfair Educational Foundation. And we need you more than ever, so I hope everyone who's able to, you can even get a sleep-in pass, I think, for like $10. But come out and support this this event. All the money goes to scholarships, and we want to continue to support our Cyfair Educational Foundation. May 3rd through 7th is Teacher Appreciation Week, and Tuesday, May 4th, is National Teacher Day. I would personally like to honor the CFISD educators and acknowledge the crucial role our district's teachers play in making sure every student receives a quality education. And I would just finish this evening with, we started this 2021 school year all the way back in August, and I know there was a lot of people that were not sure that we could make it happen. But we've made this school year happen thanks to our wonderful teachers, for our campus administration, for our Reopen Safely committee that put great protocols in place. And guys, we got 36 student days left in this school year. And can we make it 36 more days where we can ensure that our students and our teachers and our staff are safe? I mean, that's all we got left. That's 7 weeks and 1 day of school left for students. So I just hope we can continue to keep this up and make sure that we finish this year. Just the joy I've seen on students' faces as I've watched bands compete at the state marching contest, as I've seen choral groups perform, as I've seen athletes get to do what they love when it was cut off all of a sudden last March. Guys, this has been worth the effort. And I just want to make sure that we can continue the rest of this year. We're going to have a good summer school, and then when we start back in August, we're going to be much more normal than we are now. But just to the teachers, to the principals, to our parents, and gosh, to our students, thank y'all so much for making this wonderful school year happen. We've got 72% of our students in person. And I'm going to tell you, they're thankful to be there, and they've just done a wonderful job of making this a possibility. So thanks to this board, and thanks to this community for literally changing lives this year. Thank you, Mr. Covey.
Dr. Henry, well said, and the whole board feels the same way. We appreciate everybody for being here tonight. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much.